Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, because in the next few minutes, you're going to discover why your dreams keep slipping through your fingers. And it has nothing to do with bad luck, the economy, or the universe conspiring against you. The real culprit? It's hiding in plain sight. It's the words coming out of your mouth every single day. I know that sounds simple, maybe even too simple, but stay with me here because what I'm about to share changed everything for me, and it's based on patterns observed in some of the most successful people who ever lived. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people are unconsciously broadcasting their power away. They're leaking energy through casual conversations, innocent updates, and well-meaning shares, never realizing they're sabotaging their own success in real time. Think about it. Have you ever started something with incredible momentum, told a few people about it, and then watched that momentum mysteriously vanish? Have you ever felt like you're working twice as hard as others, but getting half the results? That's not coincidence. That's energy drainage. And before you think I'm talking about some mystical woo-woo concept, let me be clear. This is about psychology, focus, and the very real phenomenon of how our words shape our reality and influence the people around us. Napoleon Hill spent over 20 years studying the success patterns of the wealthiest individuals of his era. And you know what stood out? It wasn't just their work ethic or their strategies. It was their selective silence. They had mastered the art of knowing what to never share. So here's my promise to you. By the end of this, you'll understand the 7 things that, if you stop sharing them today, will create a noticeable shift in your life within just days, not weeks, not months, days. And I need to warn you, you are probably doing at least 3 of these right now. Let's dive in. The first, energy leak. Broadcasting your plans. Here's something nobody tells you about goals. Talking about them feels almost as good as achieving them. And that's exactly the problem. When you share your plans with others, your brain experiences a phenomenon called premature completion. You get a hit of dopamine, the same reward chemical you'd get from actually accomplishing the goal. Your mind literally tricks itself into feeling like you've already done the work. The result? Your drive diminishes. Your urgency fades. What was once a burning obsession becomes just another idea you talked about. Think about someone you know, maybe even yourself, who's been about to start something for years. They've perfected the pitch. They can describe every detail of their future business, book, or breakthrough. But it never materializes. Why? Because they're spending their creative energy on description rather than action. There's also a darker element at play here. When you reveal your plans, you invite interference. And I don't mean intentional sabotage, although that happens too. I mean the well-meaning doubt of others. Your friend might say, "Wow, that's ambitious. Are you sure you're ready?" Your family member might add, "But what about your stable job?" Your colleague might mention, "Oh, I knew someone who tried that, and it didn't work out." Each comment is like a tiny weight added to your shoulders. Individually, they seem harmless, but collectively, they become the burden that stops you from taking off. Successful people understand something profound. Your vision is fragile when it's new. It needs protection, not exposure. It needs to be nurtured in silence until it's strong enough to withstand the world's opinions. So here's your new rule: build in private, reveal in public. Let your results do the announcing, not your intentions. The second energy leak, making your relationship public property. This one's going to sting, but it needs to be said. Your relationship is nobody's business. Not the good parts, not the bad parts, none of it. I know we live in an age where sharing seems like caring, where posting about your partner feels like celebrating them. But there's a fine line between appreciation and exhibition, and most people have crossed it without realizing. Here's what happens when you constantly talk about your relationship. You invite the energy of others into your most intimate space, and not everyone who listens to you wants to see you happy. That's hard to accept. I know. We want to believe our friends and family are cheering for us, and many are. But even those who love you carry their own disappointments, their own failed relationships, their own unmet desires. And when you share about your happiness, you're sometimes holding up a mirror to what they don't have. The result? Subtle poison disguised as concern. That's so sweet, but don't you think he's a little controlling? She's amazing. But have you noticed how she talks to you in front of others? I'm just saying this because I care. Are you sure this is really what you want? These aren't questions seeking information. They're seeds of doubt being planted in fertile soil. And when you share your relationship problems, you're essentially asking people to take sides, to form opinions about someone they'll never fully understand because they're not living your reality. Here's the trap. You might forgive your partner next week. You two might work it out and grow stronger. But your friend, your family member, they'll remember what you told them. They'll forever see your partner through the lens of that vulnerable moment you shared. The strongest relationships are like roots, powerful, essential, but underground. When you keep digging them up to show people, you damage them. So let your relationship be your sanctuary, not your storyline. A third energy leak. Discussing your income. Money is one of the most emotionally charged topics in human society. And yet, people casually discuss their finances all the time, not realizing they're opening a door that should remain closed. If you reveal you're struggling financially, people perceive you differently. Opportunities dry up, invitations stop coming. Why? Because whether fair or not, people associate with those they perceive as winning. But tell people you're doing well? That's even worse. Suddenly, your success needs explanation. You must have had unfair advantages. You must know someone. You couldn't have possibly earned it through legitimate hard work. The assumption of wrongdoing appears out of nowhere. And then come the requests. The emergencies multiply. The distant relatives remember you exist. The friends who never ask how you're doing suddenly need help. Your financial situation, good or bad, is a private matter because it's one of the few things people judge you for without knowing the full story. There's also something subtler happening here. When you vocalize scarcity, I'm broke, money is so tight, I can never get ahead, you're not just describing reality. You're reinforcing it. You're programming your subconscious to see yourself as someone who struggles. And your mind works tirelessly to prove that identity correct. The same applies to abundance. Flaunting wealth doesn't create more of it. It creates resentment, jealousy, and unexpected obstacles. Your bank account should speak only to you. Build your wealth quietly. Spend it wisely. And let your peace of mind be your only status symbol. The fourth energy leak. Making your problems everyone's entertainment. There's a person in every social circle who's perpetually in crisis. Everything is drama. Every week brings a new catastrophe. And strangely, despite constant support from friends, nothing ever improves. You know why? Because they've made their problems their identity. Now let me be clear. I'm not talking about seeking professional help. Therapy, counseling, coaching, these are powerful tools for growth. I'm talking about the habit of turning every conversation into a complaint session, every social gathering into a therapy circle. When you repeatedly tell people about your problems, you're not processing them, you're rehearsing them. You're strengthening the neural pathways associated with struggle, making it easier for your brain to find problems and harder for it to find solutions. There's also a strange social dynamic at play. When you share your struggles, some people feel better about themselves. Your problems make them feel less alone in theirs. So unconsciously, they want you to stay stuck. They'll offer sympathy, but rarely solutions. And here's the kicker. You become the person everyone avoids. The energy vampire. The one who brings down the mood. And when people avoid you, so do opportunities. Your challenges are real. I'm not dismissing them. But broadcasting them doesn't diminish them. It amplifies them. Instead, face your difficulties in private. Reflect, strategize, meditate on solutions. Then, when you emerge victorious, Share the lesson, not the struggle. That's how you inspire. That's how you attract opportunities. That's how you become someone others want to be around. The fifth energy leak: premature victory celebrations. Delicate moment in every achievement. The space between starting and completing. And this is where most people sabotage themselves. The instant they see progress, they announce it. I lost 5 pounds. I got a new client. I'm working on something big. And while there's nothing wrong with celebrating, there's a problem with celebrating too soon. Here's what happens. When you announce early victories, you satisfy the psychological reward before the actual completion. Your brain releases dopamine from the social approval, and suddenly the drive to finish weakens. It's like opening presents before your birthday. Sure, it feels good in the moment, but it ruins the actual occasion. There's also the energy factor. Not everyone who hears about your progress wants to see you succeed. Some people will unconsciously project doubt. Others will actively hope you fail, so they feel better about their own lack of progress. Even well-meaning people might say things like, "That's great, but don't get your hopes up." Or "Let's see if you can maintain it." Or "I've seen people start strong and then give up." These comments, however innocent, plant seeds of doubt that can derail your momentum. The most powerful achievers I know have a common trait. They're mysteriously productive. They don't announce projects. They release finished products. They don't talk about working out. They show up fit. They don't discuss learning. They demonstrate mastery. They understand that silence is the incubator of success. Protect your process. Celebrate internally. And let your completed achievements speak for themselves. The sixth energy leak: criticizing others. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Every minute you spend judging someone else is a minute stolen from your own growth. When you speak negatively about others, you think you're just expressing an opinion or venting frustration. But energetically, you're doing something far more damaging. You're programming yourself to see the world through a lens of judgment and scarcity. Your subconscious doesn't distinguish between them and you. When you say someone else is lazy, incompetent, or untrustworthy, you're training your mind to look for those qualities everywhere, including in yourself. There's also a law of attraction element here. The energy you put out is the energy you receive back. Criticize others for being dishonest, and you'll mysteriously attract dishonest people. Judge others for being unsuccessful, and you'll find yourself surrounded by lack. Plus, there's a practical reality. People know, not because someone tells them, but because energy has a signature. Someone who frequently criticizes others becomes someone nobody trusts. Who's going to confide in you? collaborate with you, or recommend you if they know you might tear them down behind their back. Successful people master the art of observation without judgment. They see what doesn't work in others and use it as a mirror for self-improvement, not as ammunition for gossip. When someone falls, you have a choice: point and laugh, or extend a hand. Only one of those choices leads to prosperity. The seventh energy leak: betraying confidences. This is the ultimate test of character, and most people fail it without realizing the consequences. When someone trusts you with a secret, they're giving you something precious: their vulnerability, their truth, their faith in you. And when you share that secret with others, even casually, even with good intentions, you're committing a profound violation. Here's what happens energetically. You program yourself as someone who cannot be trusted with valuable things, and the universe operates on reciprocity. If you can't be trusted with small secrets, you won't be entrusted with big opportunities. Think about it. Would you give a major project to someone who can't keep their mouth shut? Would you share a business opportunity with someone who gossips? Would you invest in someone who's proven to be unreliable? Of course not. But beyond external consequences, there's an internal cost. When you betray confidences, you carry a subtle anxiety, a small voice in the back of your mind wondering if people will find out, if there will be consequences, if you've damaged something irreparable. That anxiety is poison. It disrupts your peace, clouds your judgment, and lowers your vibration. The most successful, most respected, most sought-after people in any field share a common characteristic: their vaults. What you tell them stays with them, period. That reliability makes them magnets for opportunity, trust, and prosperity. Guard secrets like you'd guard treasure. Let discretion be your signature. The path forward. So there you have it. 7 silent killers that most people are unknowingly feeding every single day. Stop broadcasting your plans. Keep your relationship sacred. Guard your financial information. Process problems privately. Delay celebrating victories. Refuse to criticize others. Protect confidences. Do these things and watch what happens. Not in months or years. In days, you'll feel a shift, a lightness, a sense of power returning. Because here's the ultimate truth. Your words are either building your future or dismantling it. There's no neutral ground. So choose silence where others choose noise. Choose discretion where others choose exhibition. Choose focus where others choose distraction. That's where power lives. That's where prosperity grows. That's where your best life is waiting. The question is, are you ready to stop giving it away?